Hello, and welcome back to another Interrogation Breakdown. I hope you've all been well. Today, we are covering the interrogation of Robert Powel. His roommate had been found dead weeks after he moved out of the house. Detectives called him up and asked to speak with him, and he willingly came in for an interview. The following is my opinion and just alleged. Let's break it down.
Appreciate you coming down and talking to us. Just so you know, this is voluntary. You're free to leave at any time. But I do appreciate you coming down and giving us this time. Okay.
This is one of the bigger interrogation rooms I have seen. Notice how the table is huge, and there's 4 chairs even though there's only 3 people in the room. This will make the room feel more crowded. Also, notice how one detective is seated right next to the door, and the other detective is in the corner, diagonal from the door. This causes the suspect to have his back to the door while speaking with the main detective. This can make leaving feel like less of an option in the suspect's mind because 1, he can't see it, and 2, there are obstacles in the way of the exit.
Do you know what I want to talk to you about?
No.
Okay. How long did you live with Elvira Segura?
4 years and 1 month, almost exactly.
Oh, wow, okay. So when did that start? Do you remember?
I believe it was the second week of August, 2012.
Okay. And how did you come across her?
I knew her for quite a long time.
Okay. So where'd you know her from?
When I was the manager of a bookstore, she used to do business with us because she worked for the city library.
Okay.
So I knew her there and as a customer.
Okay. Which bookstore is this?
It's closed now. It was Hastings.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when did you first meet her, would you say?
It had to be around 2001 when I started doing school and municipal accounts. Pretty right around there. Didn't know her until better socially until about 5 years later, maybe.
Okay. Why did you live with her? I don't know if you had a relationship.
No, we did have, we were just friends.
Okay.
But the reason I lived with her was because I was homeless at the time.
Okay.
And she thought it would be best if I stayed with her, which I did. And I helped out. I did a lot of stuff around the house.
Okay.
Damn, imagine knowing someone this long and finding out they're homeless, so you helped them out by offering them to stay with you, and they repay you by speaking about you like this? What a horrible thing to do to someone who helped you out when you needed it the most and you had no one else. What an asshole.
And when did you live with her until?
About 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago? So
I think. Yeah, sounds right. What is today?
Today's October
14th. It might have been a little bit more. It's been more than a month.
More than a month, okay. And when was the last time that you actually saw her?
It was a Tuesday evening, but I can't recall the date.
Okay.
It's been about a month and a half. It's been more than a month.
On a Tuesday evening?
Yeah.
And what kind of things did you do around the house? You said you helped her out.
Elvira was retired, and by her own admission, she was quite lazy. So when I first moved in there was like 40 some odd bags of trash in a room. And there was rat feces and stuff like that. The place was a mess. She only had one working toilet, and that was barely working. Stuff like that. So I said, well, for my room and board and to keep me busy, I'll, start doing stuff. So I did. I started first by cleaning up the place, getting rid of weeds and fire hazard stuff around the house. Then I would clean the house, and she liked my cooking. I'm a pretty good cook. So I started doing like 95% of the cooking. So it was basically just running the house, And let's see, boy, I did a lot of stuff. I installed a brand new oven. I installed a dish, the disposal, sweet disposal. I did all the gardening for more than 3 years. Put in an entire garden. I refurbished her flues and stuff on her heater, water heater. Oh God, I did a lot of things. I put together a lot of stuff that she got addicted to Amazon. She started buying a lot of stuff, so I had to put together everything. Pretty much kept the house in pretty good order.
Seriously, what a jackass. Yeah, if you don't have a job and you're staying with someone for free, then you should be pulling your weight in other ways. She was nice enough to let you stay there for free. You could have gotten a job and paid rent and then only done your share of the chores or moved out, but you preferred to stay at home. That means you need to also take care of the home, considering by your own words, that's for room and board. So what, you did a lot. You owe a lot. And honestly, for 4 years worth of living there, it doesn't really sound like you were doing anything outrageous.
And then, she messed up her knee or something. She was loath to go to the doctor to get things, straightened out. So her knee was kind of bad, so the dog had to be walked every day, twice a day. So I did that, took care of the dog, and just generally keeping up everything. And then the other 2 toilets were not working in the bathrooms, in the bedroom bathrooms, and took those out. Finally had to call a plumber because the roots were growing up through the plumbing. So they came and they tore that out and then covered it up. So I retiled the bathrooms.
Why did you live with her for so long if you dislike her so much? Get a job, save up, move out. You had 4 years. You could have done it.
Floors, both of them, after they had, torn everything out. And then I installed 2 new toilets as well. I refurbished, air conditioner hadn't been working for 5 years. She said it was broken, really wasn't, but she didn't know anything about it, so I refurbished the air conditioning, so for the last 2 years she had air conditioning. And just all sorts of little things, just tons of little things.
You really fixed up her house, huh?
Yeah, well, it wasn't exactly falling apart, but I mean, it just wasn't working for her. She'd had a rough time. She'd had a rough time for a long time, and then after she retired, she met up with some guy. I don't remember his name, but he was Polish. Edward something, I think. Don't remember his last name. Nothing but consonants. But anyway, he was bad news for her, I guess, and strange. And then she was drinking a lot at one time, and she absolutely could not drink. if she was started drinking, she would just get absolutely enraged at anything. The drop of a hat, she was very touchy about things. And I guess she had problems with her neighbors. The Davenhalls and the Peñas and what's his name, Dr. Frazier next door, I guess. They took out a restraining order against her. I don't know how long that lasted or anything. I think it was still in effect when I moved in there, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know, I don't recall. But so she was just like livid with her neighbors for doing that to her. She just was kind of hard to get along with them. And Carl was making too much noise across the way. She would get up, run over there, and I tried to stop her. But she would get up and run over there and start yelling at him for making so much noise. And so she wasn't. But she did have one neighbor, Elvira Garcia, down the road, who was a friend of hers.
Oh.
But she lived down the road. So, but just, friends in passing.
Yeah.
Because they had lived there for quite a while. But, yeah, so...
You're just bad-mouthing the fuck out of her. It's vile. The detective, of course, though, has to play along with the suspect to build the rapport.
Anyway, this guy caused trouble, and finally he had to split because it was just too much hassle. And then Carl called the environmental department or code violations or whatever it is because her septic system was malfunctioning. She needed a leach line, I think it is. And I told her, I said, well, I know how to put it in, but I said I can't do all that digging by myself. So she called somebody finally, but she ignored it. Now I know she got the warrant or the, not the warrant, but the, whatever it is where you have to appear in court. I know she got it, but she said she didn't. And then so they called somebody to come and pick her up. She had to spend the night in jail, and she didn't like that much either. And so she finally, real quick, because I told her, I said, you got like 90 days to get this done or you're going to be in trouble. So real quick, she called somebody and they came out and put out they dug the line, or they dug the hole, and I got the stuff, the material to do it with, and I put most of it in. They did the connection, but I did most of that myself too. It wasn't hard, but I didn't have the equipment to dig the hole and stuff. So, but yeah, she had some problems with some people. She didn't really talk to too many people, really, and she got kind of bad where she would have problems talking on the phone. Like if she needed to call in a prescription or something, I usually had to call a prescription in for her. I used to work for a company that was a pharmaceutical company, so I knew how to do it. I'd call in her prescriptions for her. She'd get all, I don't know, just kind of freaked out sometimes on the telephone. And she just didn't really have any close friends. Every once in a while, somebody would call. Somebody, I can't remember her name, I think it was Gail. I've never met her, but was an old friend of hers and called. And she called 2 or 3 times, I think. And I said, this lady keeps calling you should call her and let her know that you're still around and stuff. And so, but she never did. No, she just became kind of reclusive, I guess is the word.
Oh.
She didn't like to go to the store. Sometimes it would take her a day and a half to get worked up to go to the store. She'd have to force herself. And she had the ups and downs and stuff really bad, kind of sometimes pretty severe. She would get her prescriptions and she would, I don't know if it's abuse or overuse. I don't know. Either way, it's not doing your prescriptions right. And she would like take a bunch, right? As soon as she got them, like I think it was alprazolam was one of them. And then she was on a form of Xanax. And she stopped taking her blood pressure medication, which she wasn't supposed to do, but she did stop it. But she would use it all at once, you know, and then she'd like lay around for like 3 days, just lay around, and then she'd suffer withdrawal. I could tell it was withdrawal because of the way she was behaving and stuff like that.
Because you're an expert on withdrawals? Plus, what the hell is this? What are you doing? You're just spewing everything. Plus, you think that you're clever coming up with a reason as to why no one has seen her. Oh, it's because she became reclusive and wouldn't even call her friend back to let her know she's still around. I don't know about you all, but this is a major red flag for me. He isn't asking what happened to her or anything. He asked why he was there, and they asked when he last saw her. If she was someone I lived with for 4 years, I would be like, is she okay? What happened? What's going on? Not saying horrible things about her or making up reasons why she would be dead or missing. This is just weird.
And she was kind of up and down. Not kind of, a lot. Up and down.
You said she didn't have a lot of friends.
The entire time I lived there, let me think. There was one guy. He was a Native American that she knew that had stayed with her at one time. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. I just met him the one time. And he stopped by to see her, but he hadn't seen her in like more than 2 years at least. And there was a neighborhood guy, but he wasn't really a friend. He was just a strange guy that used to come around once in a great while. And bum a cigarette or something and then move on. But this one guy is the only one. And then I did see Edward once too. Edward came there once. I don't think he was supposed to be there, but he showed up one night, I remember, for like a day. And he showed up the day before her court date to figure out her septic system. And he went to court. I took her there, and we went to court. He went to court. After we got out of court and stuff, and they got into it. I have no idea what it was about. It was just like explosive, screaming and yelling and blah, blah. It was really bad. So he jumped out of the car and just left. And that's the last I've seen of him. But he did show up that one time. I don't think he was supposed to be there, but he did.
What would you consider you to Elvira?
I was a good friend of hers.
Yes. Okay.
Would it be fair to say that she was mean?
She was very mean. She was abusive.
Was she abusive towards you? What is that?
It's a scar from the last time that she hit me with a folding table.
Okay. When was that?
Just before I left.
And what started that situation?
I have no idea. You'd be reading or watching TV or sleeping. She seemed to come at you when you'd be sleeping.
Did you have to defend yourself against her at that point?
Well, it was...
Dumbass. He was so heated to throw in another jab at his friend that he accidentally indicates that the last time he saw her, there was an altercation. But this is what I mean. He considers her a friend, but hasn't even asked if she's okay. He's just like, yeah, well, don't look at me. I'm just the abused bestie who fixed her whole house and took care of her. Look over there at the lady the investigation is for, and her ex. I think this detective sees right through it, though, as he's already asking the self-defense question, which leads me to believe he knows that they have their man, and he's just trying to provide an easy way out for the suspect to confess. If it's self-defense, then he is the victim, and she's the villain. And for someone who is this clear about trying to be seen as innocent and have the other person be a monster, it is the perfect bait.
She would just start going off. I do remember now why I got this was because her headphones on her computer stopped working, and she listened to audiobooks constantly. And she would sew and listen to audiobooks. And I said, well, let me check your headset. So I checked her headset. There was nothing wrong with the headset. It worked on other devices. And I fiddled with it, and I thought, well, the connection on the computer is shot, maybe. But then it would go in and out and in and out, and I was like, so I said, let me look up something. So I had a tablet, a little, tablet computer. So I went and looked up troubleshooting on her model and why it would or would not possibly work. And in the meantime, she said, well, I guess I'm going to have to buy a new computer. And I said, well, that's just silly to buy a new computer when this is a very minor problem that could probably the Geek Squad could fix for you. I said, I don't know why you'd want to spend that much money on a brand new computer unless you really wanted one. I said, that's just plain silly. Let me look this up. And I did. I looked it up, and evidently you can change what's called a driver on the computer. I'm not a computer nerd, but I understood what they were talking about. So I changed the driver to headset, which wasn't that difficult, and then put it in. It worked fine. And then, so I didn't know if there was any, at that moment I didn't know if anything was wrong. Then she got up and she went to her another easy chair, and she started to read, and she said, she goes, I really want something soothing. And I knew she liked tapioca, but the tapioca would take a long time to soak. So I said, well, I can make you some vanilla pudding real quick. Wouldn't take, it's no big deal. She said, yes, please. So I made her vanilla pudding. And I served it to her, and I took it to her. And there was no problem, really. I didn't sense any kind of a problem. And that afternoon, after I got through watering the garden, I was laying in bed, and I was like half asleep. And I believe I had the headphones and was listening to a political show. And I hear just a screeching noise, and I thought, what in the world? But I didn't pay too much attention because it was intermittent, kept coming and going. I thought, what? And so I sat up, and when I sat up, she came storming into the room. And she said something about, I can buy my own computer if I want to. And she was just yelling at the top of her lungs. And I said, well, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say you couldn't afford a computer or something. I said, that's really your business, but I'm sorry I made that comment. And then she went on, and she had this bad habit of not sticking to one thing. It was pretty erratic. You know what I mean? It would be from this side to this side to, and then it was hard to make sense of it. So I would just sit there kind of most of the time dumbfounded. And then she'd start name calling, and then she'd get in your face. She liked to poke you with her finger.
This is a lot of past tense. I know he is talking about when he lived with her, and that would be in the past, but he also shouldn't know she's dead yet, and these are general terms. I would think he would be saying she likes to poke, or she does poke, or she will poke you, rather than she liked to poke you. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could make the argument either way, but it seems sketchy to me.
Two, and she was pretty nasty that time. And then, so to tease her, I took the tablet, and I put it on video. I thought, well, maybe she'll calm down. And I was filming her in her rage, and she did not like that at all. I meant it as a joke. Evidently she didn't like it.
How is that a joke? It's my belief you did this to further annoy her. Anyway, how did you get the scar? You still haven't told us, and it's been a story over the span of hours.
And she got really, and so she left, and I thought, well, good, that's over, because she calmed down and there was no problem. So then later that evening, I don't know what time it was. I know it was after dark, and I was watching a YouTube video of some sort. I felt this poking on my back, and sometimes the dog would come and poke you with her nose, and I thought it was her, but it was her. And she said right away, "Oh, did I startle you?" And she was like really, sarcastic and all this. Oh God, she started going on and on about this, that, and the other, and just I don't remember, to be honest with you, what all the raving was about, but it was all over the place. And then so I went to turn around to put the, what do you call it, the laptop, the tablet. It had a little case thing, and I went to put it down, and I pushed it aside to the side of the bed, and she grabbed it, and she had a habit of destroying her own property too, which is, she did that with the second one wasn't her fault, but the first one was, she, if I was watching TV, and especially if because I had these wireless headphones, if I was watching TV, she would yank the TV with the wires and everything away, and she yanked it so hard that it fell down on the top of the console that it was on, and it cracked the screen just all to hell. And I was like, "Why are you destroying your own property?" I just was like, couldn't believe it. She did that. Well, she took the tablet this time and then threw it across the room and just shattered it. One whole side was totally shattered. And I was like, "Oh, great." And then, so I wasn't going to respond to that if I could help it. And then she, and I told her not to do this before. She liked to take her hands and put them around your neck or pull your shirt, whatever, like that, and pull you into her face while she yelled at you. And I told her, "Don't do that, please. I said, you don't have the right to do that. That's not right." And I screamed at her once about it. I mean, I screamed at her, yelled at her, "Don't do that." And it didn't seem to have any effect. And this time she started it again. And I turned around and I rolled up kind of like on my side. And I was just like trying to ignore her while she was going on and on. The next thing I know, I hear there was a little, like a TV tray, a wooden TV folding tray there with a fan on it, and the fan went crashing to the ground. And I didn't see her do it, but certainly I felt it. And I turn around, and there it comes crashing down on me. Oh, hit my arm and my head, like right there on the top, and then hit my arm. And I was, and she whacked me good too. She whacked me good. It splintered the table. And then she grabbed the TV remote, which was a great, kind of a big affair, a big thing like that lights up, and she threw that in the same direction which was towards the bathroom, that she threw the tablet. And but it bounced off of an easy chair that was there, and I don't think it hurt it. Well, and so that was that event.
How did you defend yourself against that?
I didn't want to hit her or nothing like that. I had that once. Once I pushed her because she was right on top of me. I didn't push her like this, but I had my knee up, and she went into my knee, and I extended my knee, and she went backwards into the couch. But then she seemed to get like more excited. It was like she wanted to incite you to do something, and she would just get worse when you did something like that. It was like it was just getting. It was like night and day, because the thing about it is Elvira, a generous person, she's a generous person. She's real generous, but it's like this, like yin and yang thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, and then there was always attention to it too. And one time, I used to try to avoid her. What I would do is like totally remove myself, which really made her mad too when you did that. Once she was listening into a conversation that I was having on a cell phone, and I don't know where she got the idea that I was talking about her, but she got like real paranoid. And I referred to something as stupid, but I didn't say Elvira is stupid or anything like that. But she went into a rage and started yelling at me while I was on the phone to this person. And the person I was on the phone with was like, what? What did you say? And I said, I don't know. I said, but she's mad about something. I said, I better hang up. So I did. But she went into the house and she didn't say anything more after that. I think she went like straight to bed. And I left my cell phone out on the porch, on a table there, an old coffee table. And I just forgot about it, I guess. And so the next day, I went to go get it, and it wasn't there. And right away, I knew she had taken it. So, which really was not that big a deal because I don't call that many people or anything. And I figured, well, she'll get over it and give it back to me or something. But another thing was she wanted you to be wrong and to apologize. And a lot of times I just wouldn't. I said, I don't see what I did wrong, Elvira. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. I said, but whatever it is, I'm really sorry. Well, you're not really sorry, God, just go on. And so I thought, well, she'll eventually give me my phone. The next day she was real tight-lipped, but she wasn't yelling or anything. And then I think it was the next day after that, then she started in again. She started going on and on about how Elvira is stupid and stupid me and how could I be so stupid. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I never referred to you as stupid, Elvira. And I said, and when you listen into a conversation and you get it wrong, I said, it just makes it even worse. I said, because I wasn't even talking about you. And so it just didn't stop. So she started the physical stuff again, getting in your face and things. And that's the time when I yelled at her. And I did tell her, I said, Elvira, I yelled, screamed at her. I said, you have no right to touch me. Don't do that. Stop it. And so she stopped for a little while, and so I went to the bedroom, and I closed the door. And when you close the door, it means I'm not interested in dealing with it. So but she kept opening the door and turning off the overhead fan, which is very childish. And then she went into her bedroom where the electrical box is, the breaker box, and she turned off the electricity in the bedroom, which is also childish. So a lot of times, instead of just talking about something and saying, well, you hurt my feelings, or I got the impression, she would just go off, and this was one of them. It was pretty bad. But, she didn't turn off the electricity in the bathroom. But anyway, so she kept coming back and forth, and finally I said, Elvira, enough. And so I closed the door, and it didn't have a lock on it, which it's a good thing it didn't have a lock, because that would have enraged her probably more. But anyway, I pulled the...
You think she would have broken the door or something?
That wouldn't have been hard, that's for sure. But she had slammed it. She had a penchant for slamming doors, which always just made me lose it. It made me so nervous because I can't stand that. But so what I did was I pulled a kind of a heavy desk, not too heavy. I pulled a heavy desk in front of the door because it opened in, so I could put the desk there. So I put the desk up there, and I put a chair against it, and so she couldn't really get in. She could jam it a little bit, but so she was screaming through the crack, and she got tired of that. So, and then she came later and started saying, "Do you want your phone?" Really sarcastic. And I said, "Where is my phone, Elvira?" I said, Elvira, that really does not belong to me. That belongs to SafeLink, which is the company that gives them out. And I said, so, that really it's not my phone. I get to use it, but it's not really my phone. I said, so you really shouldn't be stealing stuff like that. And she wouldn't budge on giving it back, so I said, enough. So I kept the door closed, and she could push it open, And I think I stayed in the bedroom for, I want to say three days solid.
Bullshit that you stayed in there with no bathroom and no electricity for 3 days straight. I don't believe that. Also, this man has a worse habit of saying something and then immediately countering it. I screamed at her. No, not screamed, yelled. I pushed her. No, not pushed. Put my knee up to block. Heavy desk. Well, not so heavy desk. Like, is the sky blue? Not blue? What the hell?
Almost 3 days solid. And I went to bed, literally, and just slept.
So you wouldn't go out to use the restroom?
No, well, there was a restroom there.
So in your bedroom?
There's a restroom in the bedroom that I slept in. So, and I didn't watch TV. I might have listened to the radio, but several years ago I was diagnosed, well, twice, I was diagnosed with PTSD. So my reaction when something like that happens that doesn't make sense is to just like go away from it. I just don't want to get into it. I don't like to argue. I don't like to fight. I had enough of that when I was a kid. So I've been trying to avoid it all of my adult life. So.
Well, as mean as you sound, nobody would blame you for defending yourself.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to do that.
No, but sometimes it happens, right?
Well, it's a case of he said, she said, and stuff like that, I know. And, well, eventually she got mad, and she called I don't know who it was, state police or the sheriff. I don't remember who it was. But a very nice, smart law officer showed up, and separated us because she kept coming in and screaming. And I said, she's just been this way, and I said, I just didn't want to have to deal with it. So I shut myself up in here. And I said, and I know it makes her mad, but I said, it doesn't seem very rational.
So is that why you left?
This happened once before. This was another incident. No, it was not because of that, but...
Why don't you tell us why you left?
Anyway, but anyway, the police officer finally talked her into giving me back the telephone, and he told us we need to sit down and talk, and so I did, and she got real dramatic, and something had happened to her car. She got in her car, and she left the keys on, and the battery was dead, and she said, you sabotaged my car. And I said, no, Vera, you left the keys in the car on, and now your battery is dead. I said, I didn't sabotage your car. So I called a neighbor, and she came over, and we put the boosters on it and fixed it up and stuff like that. And she got on the phone, and she was calling her son, and saying she was going to kick me out, and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 and that I called her stupid and things like that. And he calmed her down and told her, he said, no, well, you're really going to cut your own throat by doing that, because, he's the best person that you've ever had stay at your house.
Ugh, come on, man. Could you think of yourself as any more amazing? You're staying with her, but you're the best, and she's an awful, horrid, abusive monster. I don't know. This is such a dramatic story with a clear motive. I'm not buying into it. Yet the detectives are continually pushing the, well, you had to defend yourself angle, while also pretending to be on his side. This will help ease him into confessing once he's comfortable with the detectives and he feels the blame is not on him.
Which was nice to hear. Yeah. Because he did recognize that. So
right before you left, you had a yard sale?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, she had some stuff that she wanted to get rid of. And she had kept ordering these things. We needed some of them, and I'd used them, and I was glad to get them. But she wanted a cordless drill, so she ordered a Makita, but it wasn't cordless. She didn't pay attention when she ordered things. A lot of times I'd say, oh, Vera, let me look at it first if you don't mind, so that we don't. And she hated to send them back because it was a pain in the butt. So it wasn't what she wanted. So I put that in there, and I put a circular saw in there that was never used ever.
Brand new?
Brand new. She had one before. She loaned it to somebody, and after she ordered it, the guy came back and returned it, and it had like a 1-inch diameter bigger than this one. So this one was never used, and the other one was. I mean, it was a wonderful saw. So sold that, and I sold some knickknacks, a few knickknacks, and stuff like that, and a couple of baskets, I think, and just a little bit, not very much stuff.
Why would she want to have a yard sale to sell items she just bought and never used? Return them or sell them for a good price, but yard sales will get you less money. Also, now he's saying, I sold this and I sold that, but he said she had the yard sale. Why is it not we sold or she sold? I don't know, it's weird to me. But it would make sense if he had a yard sale selling her items because he didn't pay for them, and that's just more cash than he started with, and it's faster. I don't know, everything seems to be pointing to you, sir.
Not very much stuff.
Where was Elvira during the yard sale?
She was at home.
Was she inside?
Yeah.
What was she doing?
Sewing.
Sewing? Yeah, we talked to some of the neighbors and they said that they didn't see her at the time.
Well, yeah, she was there. I spoke to her on the porch, as a matter of fact. At one point, I had to ask her a question about
Look at his hands. This whole time they have been apart, but now he's rubbing them all over each other as if he's nervous. It's like his brain just shut off. You hear the panic in his voice. Yeah, no, I definitely talked to her about the They use the detective in the corner near the door to confront because it still enables the other detective who's closer to play the role of a friend and supporter to the suspect.
A tray. A folding tray.
Oh, did any of the neighbors see her that you're aware of?
I don't know. I mean, I was there, but I don't.
You sold some of the tools to some of the neighbors?
Some guy. I think he lives next door. I don't know what his name is, so.
Oh,
Over at Peña's.
Oh, okay. The one that has a gallery or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't help out with the yard sale at all?
She chose some items.
What do you mean she chose some?
She chose some items to go for sale.
Oh, okay.
Because she had all these, like, tons of baskets. And then she bought a thing on Amazon again, and then put it together, and it was a shelving unit that rolled and had a bunch of baskets in it. She thought she got that straightened out the way she wanted to, so she had a multitude of these bags. They were like taking up so much room. I was hanging them from the ceiling. There were so many.
And where was the dog at this time?
Dog was there.
What's the dog's name?
Mary.
Mary. Okay. Yeah, because the neighbor said that they didn't see Mary either. They were concerned over Mary. I guess she's sick.
Mary's very old. She's very old. She's just old.
Is she on medication or anything? Who would give her the medication?
Now, that was Elvira.
Okay.
Almost always. Every once in a while, like if she wouldn't get up for a few days, which wasn't that often, she was usually up every day. And no matter what she would do, she would get up usually and feed the animals, the cat and the dog. And then,
and how would she do this? I mean, how much food would she give them? Just a little bit? Would she give them a lot?
she was on a prescribed diet. It was like, I think 2 scoops and then a can of Alpo, and then she'd crush up her medication and put it in.
Oh, okay.
And I did it a few times. Not too often. She was pretty good about doing that.
So before you came here, you were talking about this scar. Is that right before you left?
I'm sorry?
The scar that you got on your hand?
Yeah.
That fight that you guys had?
Yeah.
Was that right before you left to us from Santa Fe for Nambe?
Yes.
Can we talk a little more about that?
Sure.
So you said she swung and hit you with the table, correct? With the little, where you eat?
Yeah.
And what happened after that?
We had words right after she hit me with that, on that particular, the last time. And And I said something to her. I said, that's like assault and battery, Elvira. I don't want you to go to jail. And I said, because I don't know who's going to run your house. And so she had sat down on the couch, the little, bed thing across from me. She had sat down there, and then she just started calling me every name in the book and stuff like that. And so then I started to get up, and I went to pick up a plate that needed to go to the kitchen. And I went to pick up the plate, and then she started in again and started hitting me with her fists. And then she blocked the way. She ran in front of me to the door, to the bedroom door, blocked the way, and then started taking swings at me, which she's not very good at doing. And so I got enraged, and I pushed her back towards the center of the room to get her out of the way. I don't know if I grabbed her like this and moved her, and I said, Elvira, get out of the way. And I moved her, and at one point she went down on the floor, and we got into it, and I hit her. I hit her head, or she hit her arm when she fell, and it did not sound good. It sounded like it hurt her. And also, I went to tell her, get up, Elvira, just get up. You need to leave the room. And she was having trouble getting up in this and the other, but she was just still cursing me. And I lost it. And I pushed her back down onto the floor, and I hit her head several times, I know, on the floor, which was a brick floor.
Okay, well, damn. I was not expecting him to just confess as they asked for more details on that night. I thought he would at least hold out a little longer. He really said, I got enraged and killed her. Holy shit.
Do you try to stop her from talking at any time, to put your hand over her mouth, or
No, I didn't
put
do
your hands on her neck?
No, I didn't do that. No, but I did hit her.
Okay. And what happened after that?
And then I was just so angry, just absolutely angry. And I said, you need to go. I said, you're bleeding over here. You need to go to your bathroom, and you need to clean up. And she seemed a little bit stunned, but she was still just really absolutely livid, and screaming and yelling at me and everything else. And so I told her, I said, now I've done it. I said, I'm going to go to jail because you made me lose my temper.
No, you were going to go to jail because you didn't leave the house and you attacked her. You have no accountability for your actions. You're like a little whiny child. I hate it. It's icky.
And I said something like, I really don't want to go to jail over something like this. This is ridiculous. And I was mad, but measured. I wasn't screaming or yelling or anything like that. But she wouldn't give up on it. She wouldn't stop.
How did you get her to stop?
She followed me into the bedroom, and I went and I reached in under the cushion in the, the folding bed, the day bed, the futon bed. And I pulled out a gun, and when she went back to her bathroom, I pointed it at her, and I told her, you need to really relax and calm down. I said, this is enough, this is over. And I kind of lost I don't really remember. I remember saying, this is enough, it's over. I don't remember, and I was talking at her, but I can't remember everything I said, to be honest with you. And so at one point she reached down and got it. She had thrown a bunch of stuff like that was on a folding tray, not a folding tray, just a wire shelf. She kicked it, threw it all over the place, and went into the bedroom and everything. And she grabbed a, what do you call it, some sort of a mat. I do remember that. A shower mat or something. And she bent down to pick it up or something, and she went down on one knee. And when she went down on one knee, I pulled the trigger and shot her.
What? You said calm down. She picks up a shower mat and you shoot her? Huh? One, I don't believe you slammed her head multiple times on the brick and then she got up and went into her room kicking things and picking up shower mats. Either she stumbled to her room and then fell onto a knee and you shot her, or she tried to plead with you and you shot her. But that's if she got up at all. He is not a trustworthy storyteller, in my opinion.
Where'd you shoot her?
In the bathroom.
Do you know where it hit her?
No. I did see blood coming out from around her neck or back of her neck or something. And I pulled the door closed and I never opened it again.
How long were you there after that happened?
One day. Day and a half. 1 day and a half.
What did you do with the gun?
I put it on the bed in our bedroom. I didn't want to look at it. I was absolutely shocked.
And you left it there?
No. When I came to Santa Fe, I brought it with me. My intention was eventually to use it on myself.
Where is it now?
It's in some trees near the Masonic Cemetery.
I left it on the bed, but ended up taking it with me. But I was going to use it on me, but then I had to have a yard sale real quick to get some cash, and then go put it in some trees in the cemetery. But yeah, I'm just totally going to use it on myself. All I have to say is bullshit.
I think it's still there. I haven't looked at it in days.
Was it hidden pretty well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you mind taking us out there to show us?
I'll take you.
Okay. So then you, once this happens, you're there for about a day and a half or so, and what are you thinking at this point?
I was thinking that I was going to try and come to Santa Fe and, no, not Santa Fe, Las Cruces, and I decided, well, I'll just take the gun, but I didn't want to do it there. So, with what little bit of money I did have, I had enough for like a tank of gas and a half, something like that. I came to Las Cruces. I just drove straight down. And I was gonna, twice I came really close to pulling the trigger, but I didn't.
What'd you do with her car?
It's in a pecan grove. Off of Old Highway 28.
Why'd you leave it there?
It ran out of gas and the battery was not good, so I couldn't do anything with it.
Where did you go after that?
Into town, and I've been hanging out ever since.
Okay. Where have you been staying?
Here and there, just wherever I could. Been staying outside.
Outside mostly?
Always.
Always? There's no shelters or anything, any assistance?
I don't know. I didn't check.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Recently I've come down with what I think is COPD, so I can't really walk that far without getting really tired and breathless and stuff, so it's amazing I was able to make it into town.
Okay. Can you give us just a minute? We'll be right back with you.
This form here is advice of rights.
At this point, they are planning on arresting him, and now must read him his rights. This is why I say always get a lawyer. If you've been read your rights, you're getting arrested, and there is no point to argue your case here to the detectives. Do it in court. If you haven't had your rights read, then why are you here? If you want to speak to the detectives with a lawyer present, I guess you can, but what is the point of speaking to them at all? Always ask for a lawyer.
Do you know how to read? Okay. So this just explains your rights to you from this point forward, and just like you to read it over, and then we'll fill in this stuff if you agree to it.
Would you like us to read it to you?
No, I think.
You having a hard time seeing that? Or?
Yeah, that best be.
Yeah, let me read it to you just so.
No, if you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time.
It is important for the detective that the suspect properly can read and understand their rights. By reading it for him, or ensuring that he can read it, the detective is making sure that this confession will be allowed into evidence in trial. This is a very important step, and it was smart of him to offer to read it and get the suspect reading it aloud, as it shows he can see and read it.
I'm not quite sure what the waiver means.
The waiver means that you've been advised of your rights and that you're still willing to talk with us. Are you still willing to talk with us?
Well, I suppose I should ask for a lawyer. I don't have one, of course, but... Oh, yeah, okay. I'll sign it.
You sure?
You sure?
You're signing this of your own free will. We're not forcing you to do it.
No.
Okay. But you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask any questions, and to have him or her with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning, if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time. You will also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. And here you've said that you've read this. I've read the statement of my rights, and I understand what my rights are. I'm willing to make a statement and answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand and know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure or coercion of any kind has been used against me. You agree with that?
These detectives are on it. They were 100% making sure if he didn't see it, he heard it. Good on them for doing their job properly here.
So the cemetery where you say the gun is hidden, is that here in Las Cruces or Santa Fe?
It's here at Las Cruces.
In Las Cruces, are you still willing to take us out there?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
I don't want to make it...
What's that?
I don't want to make it hard on anybody, really. So, might as well just...
So, what was your agreement, or was there an agreement for using the car?
Yeah, I could use the car. I had to do like most of the grocery shopping, and she preferred that I go. Well, Nambe Drugs closed, but they still had a store in Los Alamos, so she preferred to go to Nambe Drugs. So I used to drive the car back and forth. I'd take her to get her prescriptions, of course, because I couldn't do it. Although sometimes when she just wasn't up to going, she would send me in. They would let me pick up her prescriptions for her. So, yeah, I used to use the car. I did most of the driving because she got to where she couldn't drive very well. Times she scraped the side just a little bit. She couldn't park, and she was, I don't know, she was having troubles with driving, and she would get really nervous. She's not the best driver anyway, to be honest with you. So, but yes, she let me use the car.
This detective said, "Can we get you for auto theft too?"
She used to agitate you quite a bit. It seems like you seem to get pretty frustrated when you're talking about the encounters that you guys have.
Yes, it was.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yes, it was hard.
Okay.
And I did complain to one person one time.
Who was that?
Lady, social worker I used to know.
What was the name?
Her name was Susan Montes.
Is she from Santa Fe?
Mm-hmm.
And who was the person you were on the phone with that one time?
That was Susan.
That was Susan? So that way she can kind of corroborate that maybe?
Yes, she can.
Did you guys discuss that at a later time?
I called her later, and I don't remember how much. It might have been a couple of days after all of this incident happened. After the stealing of the phone and all of that. And I did call her, and I had to go down to the Arroyo. Well, for one reason, the cell reception there is terrible, and the only good place is in the Arroyo for some reason to pick it up. But it was also away from the house, and poor Susan, I think I talked to her for like an hour and a half. I wouldn't shut up because I was so frustrated. And I almost really made her late for work. I told her at one point, I said, I think it's better off going back to being homeless or trying to find some other situation than to stay here. But then after that, she calmed down for quite a while. So, but it was up and down like a yo-yo. It was pretty bad.
Okay.
But I can honestly say, no lie whatsoever, that I never, ever precipitated an argument. I never started one just to start an argument. Never, not once.
It was always her.
God is my witness. That's the truth. Because like I say, I really didn't want to confront things. Now, if I made her mad, I guess I was the cause of it. Because she took something, But she got really mad when I wouldn't say I'm sorry. Every time I'd say, I don't know what I did. And then I lost my mind. I just lost my mind. And that gun too. That was not. I was going through the storeroom, and there were these huge, I don't know what you call them. They're aluminum cases, and you put things in them. And if you go in a river or something, and they go in the river, they're waterproof.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you call them, but I know that's kind of what they use them for. And I said, "What's in these?" She goes, "I have no idea." She said, "So-and-so left them, somebody that I don't know left them here." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to move them." So I went to move them, and they were hard to figure out how to open up, but I opened them up just to see if there was anything inside, and inside was this gun. I have no idea what kind of a gun it is. It's a long-barreled pistol, and because I don't know anything about guns, really. But I found it there, and I thought, oh no, and I didn't tell Elvira that it was there. That's the truth too. She didn't know it was there, or if she did, she'd forgotten about it. I don't know who it belonged to, I don't know where it came from, but there it was in that case.
So you moved it?
So I moved it into the house because I didn't want. There's no locks out on the storerooms. There's two little storerooms there. There's no locks. So I put it inside in the house, and I hid it under the cushion. Not very well. I just stuck it under there, and I kind of forgot about it for the longest time because it's been there for at least, I don't know, at least 7 months, 8 months maybe.
Yeah, but why would you hide it under a cushion unless you plan to use it someday? He wants to portray himself as a victim, but also not at the same time. I don't know. Like, if you're a victim, then it would make sense that you're hiding it in case you ever have to use it to defend yourself. But if you're not a victim, then why would you hide it unless you were planning to use it nefariously? He wants it to be both and neither at the same time. It's so weird.
It was less than a year. So,
Yeah, she just...
but I didn't have it in the back of my mind that I was going to shoot her. That never occurred to me, so...
She just pushed you to a point that...
I'm afraid so. I let her do it, so... I could have just, so I'm just as much to blame. But if anybody needs a reason, here it is.
What type of gun was it?
I don't know anything about guns. It's long.
Do you know the difference between you know what a revolver is or how that looks?
Well, I looked at it. I don't know what kind of a gun it is. And I looked at it. The first time I saw it, I was kind of intrigued by it, frankly. And I pulled this little thing out, this like squirrely thing out. And then when you pull that out, the place where you put the bullets, whatever that is, comes out. And they fall out real easy. And then you put the bullets in, and then you put that pin thing back in. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to do it, but that's the way I did it. And evidently it worked, because I had never shot it before. It was the first and only time I ever shot it. I didn't even know if it would work, to be honest with you. But anyway, evidently it did. And then it has a little thing on the side where you pull it, and then you push out the little... Because I did look at it after I fired it, and that... Well, I'll have to show you. Because I have no idea what kind of gun. So I don't know the caliber. I don't know anything, and I know that it must be kind of old or something because it's the wood on the handle is got a little cracked.
You don't know anything about guns, but you do know some stuff about guns, and you did know exactly how to use this gun and open it to look at it and close it back. So that's definitely not knowing nothing about guns.
So when you found the gun, it was not loaded?
Yes, it was loaded.
It was loaded?
And there was like a little box that had a bunch of bullets in it too.
Okay.
That at one time I think I threw that out. Yeah, I know I did.
You didn't remove anything from the gun after you fired it?
I pushed that little cap out, whatever that little brass part is that's left. I pushed it out at one point.
And where did that go, do you know?
I have no idea. I can't remember.
But
I honestly can't remember. I would tell you if I knew, but I can't. It must have been at least... Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't remember a lot after the first day. I think when I wrapped it up in a bag, that's when I pushed that little part out. But I don't know where the part would be. I'm sorry.
Would you be willing to take us out there now?
Yes, sir. I will take you there.
Thank you. You want to bring your soda and your candy with you?
I mean, I guess I understand why he went ahead and confessed. He had been homeless, so now he would at least have a place with food provided, so I guess I can see it. I just expected him to hold out longer on the confession. After 21 months being held in jail, a judge released Robert because they believed he had not received a speedy trial. He was arrested in October of 2016, but then released in June of 2018. The prosecutor appealed the judge's ruling in September of 2018. Robert died in October of 2018 from hypothermia, as he was homeless at the time. The court proceedings continued for another 11 months until the defense eventually notified the court that the defendant was deceased. Although the defense was appointed 3 days after Robert died, and Robert was under a different name in the autopsy report, so I guess that's why it took so long for the defense to finally realize that he was dead and tell the court. Again, everything in this is only my opinion and alleged since he died before any conviction was able to have been procured. Like and subscribe for more interrogation breakdowns and true crime content. If you found anything interesting about this case, leave it in the comments below. Thanks and have a wonderful day. Shout out to everybody at Patreon who makes these videos possible.